don't know if you're pointing to somebody who's going to share out what the takeaway is. So what's the takeaway from your table over here? These are some things that you might have been thinking about today.
Sure. Takeaway.
Scott's going to come up with one.
Part of what I agree with Kumi. Part of what these meetings are great for is learning new strategies and thinking outside of the box. And just for us, we were thinking about many of the Tier 3 strategies have historically been used for exceptional ed students, and we now know that we've got students, regular ed students, that can fall through the cracks. Part of what struck me today was we're dealing with a great number of students that lack the social skills to deal with disagreements and it very quickly leads to altercations, etc. So what struck me today, and the takeaway I've got today, is using your schedule to meet those needs. And we talked about using an elective, possibly for some type of character ed or social skill class. Typically, the social skills class has been used for exceptional ed students and IEP driven. But what is stopping us from thinking outside the box and using something like that for that time to get those teachers that are good at building relationships and helping students better build relationships and work through issues? So the takeaway today, thanks to David Bridge, was that type of thinking is use
How to schedule that time and make it happen.
Exactly.
And
you can do it through the whole school, but you can also identify a specific group of students, and so you don't have to do it through the whole school. But
it's an identified need, it's an identified group of students.
But if you look at the data and you've got a certain group of kids, then target that group.
And you can do just problem-solving skills, how to work with peers to problem-solve, and direct. It's a targeted intervention for a group of identified students. It's also wonderful if you can attach it onto a Tier 1 universal intervention, like you're doing at Bailey Bridge, where you're teaching all the students some problem-solving processes and language, common language, and then who pops out as needing more targeted intervention? What can we do for those students?
And whoever has the star web code, let me know.
Tamisha, you said you had the star web code, right? Right. And go ahead.
I was going to say, our takeaway, can I just kind of, just go
absolutely.
right after
Thanks.
Scott's thing, was, this idea, because again, the more we're fleshing this out, our kids, if we're going to focus on this class, it's going to be more of like a goal setting. Like we talked about the idea that they need to name their goal, and we said, maybe everybody's might be different. My goal is to get to high school. My goal is to pass 1 SOL. My goal is to not have any Fs. Whatever that kid's goal, but Janine had a great idea. When you guys did your capping down pictures, like what if we did pictures with their school colors with their high school behind them? I'm going to be a Lancer. I'm going to be a Cavalier, whatever it is, and have them take that photo, and rather than, like high school kids are so different. We're not going to put on, our kids are probably not going to put on their mirror or whatever, but what if we had it in the classroom so that when they came in that every day, they would see those pictures up, and that would be their goal. Every other day they're reminded what my goal is, and it's a visual indicator. So we were just talking about that if we did that class, that would be a great thing for those kids to do something special,
Yeah.
So
what you did with the pictures of the students, what you did with the pictures, and what you did with the videos, all of that comes out of that I'm determined stuff. And I know you know I'm determined to Bailey Bridge, and you do too. And I could send that as an attachment to some of those I'm determined scripts, because it talks about what are my goals, what are my challenges, and explaining yourself to the people who are going to help you, and taking an active role in kind of driving that instead of having it happen to you. Yeah, really.
I love that.
Good sharing. Thank you for both your thoughts. Okay, takeaway.
I think, first of all, let me just say that after that break thing, the presentations were exceptional.
and attractive, say attractive also, that'll help.
Very, very gentlemanly said. Yes.
One of the things that really stuck out for me as Jamie was presenting for Salem was that there is that, because we're on an early schedule as well. We do have that chunk of time between dismissal and the home basketball games that we can really take advantage of and harness. And I think that was a great takeaway there. I'm definitely going to implement that as soon as possible. Everybody just did a great job. Thank you.
And I think about the connection between our knowledge base and kind of the umbrella approach to the school, because we do have that advantage that we get to see it from whatever grade levels we serve. And then how do you bridge that to the faculty? So that, yes, and Kumi and I were talking about it during the break, you know, seeing other students is maybe not appropriate as far as all the data, but how do you bridge that communication to make sure that they get the big picture? And, you know, and I work on a lot of data as well, but I love what Kumi was able to work through at Bailey Bridge, and also Stacy, as far as being able to, Jamie, to be able to bridge that, because I do think we can take that data and then make it specific to the teacher in the classroom. So to me, that would be my next step, based on what I've learned today.
And involving them directly in the data-driven problem solving, that's beautiful, absolutely. Great for making all those connections, thank you for pulling that together. It's synthesis. Anybody else? You want to share a takeaway?
Well, we were talking about the success, and we were also talking about finding a way in middle school to create some kind of time every day, like the high schools are doing, you know, where you could do more of these programs. But the other takeaway I have is, I think we work at creating these things, and we haven't been very fun. And I hear people today talking about making it fun, and I think, of course, that's going to be more appealing to kids. So I'm really going to think about videos or pictures or something that will make it more special and fun for everybody.
I think I'm excited about putting those caps and gowns on and getting those pictures, and you made it a fun event, like, you're invited, it's exciting, yeah, you said, yeah. Yeah. Takeaway back here?
I think the idea of filming some things, because we've gone this year to, we ring a dismissal bell for each period, but we don't ring a bell that starts the period. And what we find is that as administrators, we believe kids are getting to class faster. And classes are, we have a smaller target problem. But teachers aren't always so sure about that. I think most feel that way, but some aren't so sure. So going out there and actually documenting that, having the stopwatch and saying, see, here it is. They're taking less time than when we rang the bell, because they just wait till the bell and duck in a room. So doing some documentation of that.
And it also helps too with teachers seeing that everyone else is doing, because you hear teachers say, I'm at this target station every day and nobody else shows up. Yes, they are. Here's where that person is, and they get to see that actually in, you get to see a snapshot of the other part of the building. That is the biggest thing about buy-in, yeah.
Professional colleagues in action, yeah, absolutely. It does reinforce all of those teacher behaviors that we're looking at, too, staff behaviors, not just kid behaviors. We're trying to shape as well. Tanisha, you look like you had something on your mind.
Well, kind of along the same lines as the making it fun for kids and then having the video to show teachers the successes. I think we focus a lot on providing incentives to students, but we don't necessarily do that for our teachers. And so making sure that there's a focused effort on providing shout outs for the adults for what they do is a big one, was the aha for me.
Yeah, when Chad started sending me the emails, he was sending to the staff, and he was giving them shout outs, and people, when somebody says your name and says, I noticed what you did, I mean, we know that's powerful for kids, but you're right, we forget to do it for each other. And it has to feed our souls too, so we keep doing this, and we feel energized about it. And any other takeaways, everybody, and about the rest of the takeaway?
It's just there's always something else to add on to what you're already doing, just hearing all these ideas. I love these meetings.
Yeah, and very energizing. I was saying that to Michael too. This is what professional learning communities do. They take on a life of their own. You take these evidence-based practices that are very kind of bland, generic things on the page, and you bring them to life. You make them come off the page with creativity, with energy, with passion. Your relationships with the kids, your commitments to the kids. I mean, showing up on a Sunday afternoon for a family to make sure that kid doesn't fall off the cliff, that's the kind of commitment that I find very energizing. You're right, we learn so much from each other, and you hear all the sparks and the connections of ideas and where they go, so many creative paths. You put your own spin on them. Hope, did you want to add something? I know you might want to bring up the...
Yeah, I did this at the high school session too. I mean, there are some real big themes that I just want to point out. One is people are starting to think more and more outside the box about what kids need, and trying to tailor things in your school so that it's something that the kid needs. Like transitioning to middle school and having just 2 teachers, wow, that's amazing. I had attendance conference with a student at Salem Middle, and when she found out she'd only have 2 teachers, she's like, oh, I could do that. She has a lot of anxiety, and she's generally going to school now. Also, the home visits. If you have kids with attendance or other concerns